You're watching KCCI, Channel 8, Des Moines, Iowa's news leader, and home of live Super Doppler. This is KCCI News Channel 8 at 10.
There is no doubt we thought what we said would stay there, would be private.
Said the transcript of a campaign meeting became public, and it appears a Gansky supporter was the one who leaked it. Good evening, and thanks for being with us tonight. Two big developments in the case of the taped campaign meeting involving the race for the U.S. Senate.
As you know, someone taped Greg Gansky's campaign strategy session earlier this month and then turned the tape over to Tom Harkin's campaign. Well, new today, Des Moines Police and the U.S. Attorney's Office say they will launch a full investigation. Secondly, the person who taped the meeting has now come forward, claiming he had been a Gansky supporter.
News Channel 8's Eric Hansen has reaction tonight and our top story.
The story that seems to change every few hours has done it again. Now investigators are trying to figure out if a crime was committed.
Tuesday, Greg Gansky's campaign manager was searching for answers. Who taped the strategy meeting at the Hotel Savory and then passed it on to reporters?
But I said we have no reason to believe that anyone at the meeting was a party to it.
Now, out of the 24 people at the meeting, one man has stepped forward through his lawyer. A faxed statement explains the unidentified man, who was previously a contributor to Congressman Gansky, was invited and openly present. His lawyer writes he chose to tape record the meeting instead of take notes, but became incensed by Congressman Gansky's attitude toward attack ads. So he handed over the tape.
I find it very suspicious. Although the individual has not been disclosed, we are reviewing that at this time. Everyone there, I believe, was a donor. But we find it very, very suspicious.
Others at the meeting say they feel violated.
I think it's important that those of us that are supporters kind of stand up and say, hey, look, let's find out who did it. Let's condemn them, say this isn't the way it's done, and how it was passed on so that campaigns won't have this happen in the future.
The unidentified man says he will cooperate with federal or state authorities, but doesn't want his identity revealed for business and personal reasons. Investigators say they'll carefully search for the truth.
The blinders are always on, no matter who's involved or what the course of the investigation is. The blinders are there the same for one case as is for the other.
Congressman Gansky's campaign thinks there was still a law broken here, since they think the taping was done secretly for the sole purpose of causing injury to the Republican candidate's campaign and then distribute it. The Democratic leaders contend this has been one large non-issue, and they're hoping that the candidates can get back to the topics that matter. We'll just have to wait and see.
And we do have an open criminal investigation now, right?
That's right.
To see what investigators
with the police,
say.
yes.
All right. Thanks for the update, Eric.
This whole taping issue is even receiving some national news attention tonight. The Fox News Channel's Hannity and Combs program devoted 2 full segments to the Gansky-Harkin campaign. This evening, Iowa GOP Party Chair Chuck Larson was the phone guest on the show. Little was resolved, but things got so heated the host said they'd probably have to continue their discussion another night.
KCCI is online with continuing coverage of this investigation. You can head to the iowachannel.com and click on politics. There you will find the attorney's entire statement online, a timeline of events, as well as coverage of other important races in Iowa. Follow us at iowachannel.com.
Before we go any further, some breaking news at this hour. Firefighters in Dallas County are on the scene of an apartment fire in Perry. The fire burning at 1623 First Street. Several fire departments are called to the scene tonight. Just about under control at this hour, we understand. Authorities have not said if anyone was hurt. We hope to bring you more information a little later in this newscast.
Well, today, Democratic leaders accused the president of playing politics in the war on terrorism. The accusation centers around comments President Bush made on Monday. He is quoted as saying Democrats are not interested in the security of American people. Today, Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle demanded an apology. The White House refused.
I hope that the administration, the president, will listen carefully and will respond appropriately. This is too important to politicize.
President Bush today said the safety of the American people is his top priority when it comes to Iraq. The White House says Bush's comments were taken out of context.
Back here in Iowa tonight, the people in Ottumwa are angry about a potential rate increase in their energy bills.
Alliant Energy has proposed an increase of 58%. The company says Ottumwa's rates are much less than what other customers pay elsewhere. Jessica Chandler was at a meeting tonight to discuss the change. What's the meeting about tonight, Jessica? Today, the Iowa Utilities Board will decide whether Alliant can make this change. So tonight, board members listened to what people had to say.
And on speaking tonight?
They showed up hours early to talk about a proposed rate increase in their energy bill.
No rate increase is ever popular.
Especially one that's 58%. Over the next 5 years, people in Ottumwa might be paying around $30 more a month for electricity.
It might come to not filling a prescription. It might come to not having enough food at the end of the month. It could come to just about anything you might have to do without.
The people who couldn't get inside waited outside. Disappointed they couldn't voice their concerns.
I can't voice my opinion at all.
It's a big issue, and more than 500 people are standing outside and sitting inside, hoping to be heard.
This isn't the wealthiest area in the state, and low electric rates is one of the few advantages that we've enjoyed.
It's a benefit they've enjoyed for 17 years. That's how long it's been since the city's seen a rate increase.
There's not too many things, and I can't think of any that hasn't seen an increase in 17 years.
Ottumwa also has one of the cheapest rates in the state. Now, Alliant says it's time to make sure all its customers are paying equal prices and that the company has the revenue it needs to keep up technology.
We need to make substantial investments in our electricity system because without electricity, there's no economy, there's no life, no quality of life.
Nothing was decided tonight. It was just simply a chance to hear public input. The Iowa Utilities Board will hold another public meeting in Osceola September 2nd, and then it's expected to make its decision next April. So, Jessica, why are Ottumwa rates so much cheaper than elsewhere? Well, Alliant took over Ottumwa's energy supply years ago, but then continued to charge people there the same rates they were already paying. So that's why different areas have such different rates right now. All right, we'll see what happens on this one. Thank you, Jessica.
Here in central Iowa, your heating bill should be about the same as last year. Mid-American Energy says it expects bills to be normal this year or slightly higher in some areas, but several factors can always affect the change. Things like the weather, the economy, or the possibility of a war with Iraq.
Back to Ottumwa now for new details on the debate over Vision Iowa money. A judge now says Ottumwa's mayor must sign the Vision Iowa contract, giving Ottumwa $8 million for a new civic center. Mayor Van Gates had refused to sign it. He says a recent election in which voters approved a local option sales tax to help pay for the project was invalid because of improper wording. Mayor Gates says today's ruling was unfair and says he will consult his attorney about it.
From the crime beat tonight, a Des Moines 8th grader is accused of terrorism after allegedly shooting a BB gun at people. Students at Weeks Middle School say the boy took the loaded BB gun onto this MTA bus. The bus was taking youngsters home after classes. Witnesses say the boy pointed the gun out a window of the bus and fired, hitting at least 2 students.
He was threatening everyone with the BB gun. They didn't be quiet. He was going to shoot them when they got off the bus.
When I got off the bus, we started running because we didn't want to get shot.
Now, the district has suspended the boy from classes. Juvenile authorities are handling the criminal case.
I felt a little less chill of our early fall tonight when I stepped outside, but it still is in the air.
Yeah, definitely fall.
Meteorologist John McLaughlin in the weather lab now. Any more of that chilly stuff our way coming soon?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Yet another cold front moving slowly toward us tonight, so tomorrow just a little bit cooler, but still not a bad day. I'm sad, though. Those tropical snow booths around town are all shutting down.
Aww.
Yes. Let's talk about live radar right now. We're seeing some very light shower activity west central Iowa, another band of a little more moderate rain up across Esterville, just north and west of Spencer. But we're only going to see a few hundredths of an inch of accumulation out of this. Temperatures out there, as Jeanette mentioned, a little better than the last couple of nights. 58 currently Humboldt, 60 Rockwell City. Head down to Corning, Osceola at 63 degrees. Weather headlines, more showers tomorrow, especially during the afternoon. No 70s for us tomorrow, but 60s will be likely, and temperatures holding in the 60s on into the weekend.
And no worries, Mac. Those ice cream stands
Dairy
stick
Queen
around
still
right
open.
through winter. That's right. Thank you.
I'm on Hawkeyes in New Orleans. Coming up, Tropical Storm Isidore brings flooding and rain to the Gulf Coast.
Also, see what forced the dramatic rescue of 200 American students from an African school today.
And a new look at Iowa's Homeland Security shows one area needing some improvement. Much more still to come on News Channel 8. Stick around.
Here are tonight's winning Powerball numbers, courtesy of KCCI News Channel 8. You're watching KCCI News Channel 8 at 10. Iowa's news leader. With Kevin Cooney, Jeanette Trumpeter, Heidi Soliday Sports, and meteorologist John McLaughlin with exclusive live Super Doppler weather. This is KCCI News Channel 8.
Once we start mixing the rain, depending on how much we get later on in the day and tonight, with the tidal flow, it's going to cause us problems.
Tropical storm Isidore is causing problems tonight for states all along the Gulf Coast. The unusually widespread storm system in the Gulf of Mexico could unleash 10 to 20 inches of rain.
It is supposed to hit southern Louisiana by tomorrow morning. As Manuel Gallegos shows us, the Big Easy is pretty uneasy tonight.
Bourbon Street in New Orleans' French Quarter. Usually it's packed with partiers, but because of the threat of Tropical Storm Isidore, restaurants are closed, windows are boarded, and tourists are bored.
Is this the vacation you had in mind?
No, but it's okay.
Heavy rain keeps coming in bands. Up to 20 inches of rain is expected to fall on New Orleans by Thursday, overwhelming drainage pumps in a city that lies partially below sea level. In some areas, residents are already up to their knees in water.
You doing okay?
Many finally had to give in and head to shelters.
The kids, they get scared easy, and I just don't want to take any chances.
The spread-out storm is still packing strong winds of 60 miles per hour. As it makes its way ashore, it will cover about 300 miles of the coastline across Alabama and Mississippi. For fishermen, that meant securing their boats or pulling them out of harm's way.
This is the most boats that I've seen in 16 years leave the marina.
But Isidore no longer has the punch it did when it went across the Yucatan.
It stayed down there over the weekend, and it was down there long enough that it really just lost that inner core.
And while the storm is making some miserable, others are making the best of it. After it hits land, this storm is expected to move north up through Tennessee and eventually into New England. Manuel Gallegos, CBS News, New Orleans.
And forecasters are also tracking Hurricane Lily, which is threatening Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
Nearly 200 Americans were rescued from a violent situation in the Ivory Coast today. French troops and U.S. Special Forces evacuated American school children and staff from the missionary school that was caught in the midst of rebel gunfire. The children of American missionaries based in Africa attend the school. Rebel and government forces have been fighting near the school since Thursday. No one was hurt today. And still to come, how something good can come out of one of Iowa's worst tragedies. See how the memory of a Sioux City family will be honored. That's still coming up.
And a little more light rain headed our way tomorrow, along with some cooler temperatures. We'll have the details for you when we come right back.
This live Super Doppler 8 forecast is sponsored by American Family Insurance. Keeping Central Iowa ahead of the storm. Your live Super Doppler 8 forecast.
Another pleasant evening across the region. Any rain across the state today has been light. A lot of harvest going on right now, so a little dry weather to cooperate with that. 67, partly cloudy, winds light out of the southeast at 10 miles per hour. Dew point temperature remains on the low side, so not much moisture when these showers do develop. 45, humidity at 45%. The pressure's been steady all evening, and that's a sign that this cold front up northwest is kind of just staying still, not moving down toward the region yet. Let's move on, take a look at the radar over west central and northwest Iowa. Again, very widely scattered showers up to the north of Rockwell City, south of Cherokee, and up around Spencer. This amounting to little more than sprinkles and probably will not even register in the rain gauges up there. School net temperatures around the region tonight will range from the upper 50s around Humboldt and 60 in Rockwell City. Head over to Boone right now, 63, and Iowa Falls, Rock Run Elementary, you're at 58 degrees. Move on and take a look at what's going on across our region, then we'll focus on the south. Some weak disturbances cruising to the northeast across the state. Cold front trying to make progress on into the state tonight, and it will be slow to do so. It'll be tomorrow during the afternoon where it'll finally move on through central Iowa, and as this front then progresses off to the east, a weak area of high pressure will move in behind it. The flow around the high is clockwise, and that will bring in north to northeast winds for tomorrow. More clouds and the possibility of some of these additional light rain showers. Again, with limited moisture, we don't expect any heavy rain, but at least some showers are a possibility. If you have interest down to the south, This is the forecast track of Isidore tonight, moving into the southern area of Louisiana. Now we'll put the track into motion, and you can watch as it moves on shore. The winds start to weaken as the friction with the land, between the storm and the land, tends to dissipate the winds. It's going to be a rainy day across Mississippi and Alabama during the day tomorrow, and the storm continues to lift to the north and east across Kentucky and Tennessee and heads up to the northeast, bringing heavy rain, the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms over the next couple of days and on into the weekend. So these storms may fall apart, but still can pack a punch. Right now they're producing winds around 60 miles per hour, kind of stirring up the surf off the Gulf Coast, but the main threat with this storm is heavy rain. Flooding rains up to 12 inches are possible. 49 by early morning to the north in Algona, while here in central Iowa we'll be in the 50 to 53 degree range as we head through the afternoon. Temperatures climbing to the upper 60s, south to the 50s across the north, and by late in the day, a range from 50s north to 70 south. 53 tonight, scattered light rain. The thunderstorm chance pretty well diminished overnight. 65 tomorrow, showers mainly late in the day. 5-day forecast, keep it in the 60s, actually fairly pleasant as we head on into the weekend. A few light showers possible on Saturday. No heavy rain, no problems with the Iowa State-Nebraska game.
Yay, go Clone. Oh, I forgot I'm talking to. How do you handle this one?
You have to root for the Cyclones when they play the Huskies, especially this year.
Good boy. Thanks, Johnny.
Your unrestricted access to one of the area's most popular parks may soon change. Read why in a special Des Moines Register report tomorrow. Also, do you avoid getting a flu shot because you hate needles? Read why you may be begging your doctor for the vaccine this year.
And read about two Cyclone players who carry on a family tradition as they prepare to play the Cornhuskers. Still to come on News Channel 8, for a few days, Iowa can boast a few thousand more people. See why one of the state's smallest towns just got a whole lot bigger. That story's coming up.
Closed captioning of KCCI News Channel 8 is sponsored by the Iowa Clinic, providing excellence in health care. Find out more at iowaclinic.com.
Welcome back, everybody. A Sioux City house that was the scene of one of the state's most infamous crimes is being sold.
The proceeds will go for a good cause, and this story tops our look at some of the other stories making news around Iowa tonight. It was a little more than a year ago the bodies of Letitia Aguilar and her 5 children were found in the house in Sioux City. Her boyfriend was captured a day later and pleaded guilty to those killings and one other that happened the same day. Now Aguilar's house is on the market. It had been donated to a local volunteer group, which is now selling it and will use the money for playground equipment in a nearby park.
Iowa health officials say they need more training in order to effectively deal with a possible smallpox outbreak. The state has received information from the Centers for Disease Control on dealing with an outbreak as part of the state's Homeland Security Plan, but health officials say none of the doctors in practice today in Iowa has ever seen a case of smallpox, and if a case does show up, it would be difficult to treat.
Des Moines may be the biggest city in Iowa, but for a few days this week, rural Alleman is close behind. Organizers of the Farm Progress Show have been predicting that 100,000 visitors a day will attend the event. This was the second day of the 3-day show, which features the latest in farming products and techniques. Hundreds of exhibitors are on hand, but no Ferris wheels or big-name concerts at this farm show. This one's all business.
Coming up next in sports, the latest on Minnesota Vikings Randy Moss and the troubles he is facing.
And we will also soon face reporters about that incident. We'll have much more coming up.
Visits Penn State, the 12th ranked team in the country. I'm Mark Meisenheimer. I'll have what the Hawkeyes are saying about their chances at State College coming up in sports.
As he left jail on his way to practice this afternoon, Vikings receiver Randy Moss was whistling and acting a bit nonchalant about the media pack covering his moves at the Hennepin County Jail in Minneapolis. Moss spent the night in the jail following an arrest Tuesday. That's when he reportedly knocked down a female traffic control agent with his car. Moss has a history of erratic behavior, and here's another example.
You're the one that's sitting here trying to talk about my case. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about what happened. So whatever your questions are, you're trying to get some answers about the case, is not going to happen. I was really confused of what I was supposed to do and what happened. So that's where the misunderstanding, I think, came in.
Was it a long time returning to a street that was...
What I just tell you, woman, I'm not getting into that. We need
Moss, who was charged with 2 misdemeanors, apologized to the Vikings at practice this afternoon. He will hold a press conference Thursday morning. The Iowa Hawkeyes get down to Big Ten business this weekend, and here's Mark Meisenheimer on the Hawks showdown with Penn State.
Play action here. Intercepted! Penn State is back.
Yeah, they're an excellent football team. We're playing a very, what are they, 12th in the country right now? They deserve their ranking. They're an excellent football team. All that being said, it still comes down to what we do.
With a 3-0 record and an impressive 33-point victory over Nebraska, the Nittany Lions look like one of the teams to beat in the Big Ten.
I think they're more physical this year. I think they got a lot more heart than they did last year. They're a real good team. They're ready to play this year.
Visiting the 12th ranked team in the country and playing in front of 100,000 hostile fans would seem to stack the deck against the Hawkeyes. You have to remember, Iowa has won its last 2 games at State College.
They're really